Dinner time. We're on Jeremiah 11. The word that came to Yirmiyahu from Jehovah, saying, Hear the words of this covenant, and speak to the men of Yehuda, and to the inhabitants of Yerushalayim. And you shall say to them, Thus said Jehovah, Elohim of Yisrael, Cursed is the man who does not obey the words of this covenant, which I commanded your fathers in the day when I brought them out of the land of Mizraim, from the iron furnace, saying, Obey my voice, and you shall do according to all that I command you, and you shall be my people, and I be your Elohim, in order to establish the oath which I have sworn to your fathers, to give them a land flowing with milk and honey, as it is this day. And I answered and said, Amen, Jehovah. And Jehovah said to me, Proclaim all these words in the cities of Yehuda, and in the streets of Yerushalayim, saying, Hear the words of this covenant, and do them. For I earnestly warned your fathers in the day that I brought them up out of the land of Mizraim, until this day, rising early and warning, saying, Obey my voice. But they did not obey, or incline their ear, but everyone walked in the stubbornness of his evil heart. So I brought on them all the wonders of this covenant, which I commanded them to do, and they did not do. And Jehovah said to me, There is a conspiracy among the men of Yehuda, and among the inhabitants of Yerushalayim. They have turned back to the crookedness of their forefathers, who refused to hear my words, and they have gone after other mighty ones to serve them. The house of Yisrael and the house of Yehuda have broken my covenant I have made with their fathers. Therefore thus said Jehovah, See, I am bringing evil on them which they are unable to escape. Then they shall cry out to me, but I shall not listen to them. And the cities of Yehuda and the inhabitants of Yerushalayim shall go and cry out to the mighty ones to whom they burn incense, but they shall bring no deliverance to them at all in the time of their evil. For your mighty ones have become as many as your cities, O Yehuda, and you have set up as many slaughter places to shame as there are streets in Yerushalayim, slaughter places to burn incense to Baal. And you do not pray for this people, or lift up a cry or prayer for them, for I do not hear them in the time that they cry out to me because of their evil. Why should my beloved be in my house? She has done wickedness with many. And does the set-apart flesh remove your evil from you? Then you rejoice. Jehovah has named you, green olive tree, beautiful, of goodly fruit. With the noise of a great sound he has set it on fire, and its branches shall be broken. And Jehovah of hosts, who planted you, has spoken evil against you for the evil of the house of Yisrael, and of the house of Yehuda, which they have done against themselves to provoke me by burning incense to Baal. And Jehovah made it known to me, and I know it. Then you showed me their deeds. But I was like a gentle lamb brought to the slaughter, and I did not know that they had plotted against me, saying, Let us destroy the tree with its fruit, and let us cut him off from the land of the living, and let his name be remembered no more. But O Jehovah of hosts, who judges righteously, who tries kidneys and heart, let me see your vengeance upon them, for upon you I have revealed my cause. Therefore thus said Jehovah concerning the men of Anathoth, who are seeking your life, saying, Do not prophesy in the name of Jehovah, lest you die by our hand. Therefore thus said Jehovah of hosts, See, I am punishing them. The young men shall die by the sword, their sons and their daughters shall die by scarcity of food, and there shall be no remnant of them. For I bring evil of the men of Anathoth the year of their punishment. Righteous are you, O Jehovah, when I plead with you. Indeed, let me speak with you about right ruling. Why has the way of the wrong prospered? All the workers of treachery are at ease. You have planted them, and they have taken root. They grow and they bear fruit. You are near their mouth, but far from their kidneys. But you have known me, O Jehovah. You see me, and you have tried my heart toward you. Draw them away like sheep for slaughter, and separate them for the day of slaughter. How long shall the land mourn and the plants of every field wither? The beasts and birds are consumed for the evil of those who dwell there, because they said, He does not see our latter ending. If you have run with the footmen, and they have wearied you, then how do you contend with horses? And if in the land of peace you feel safe, then how do you manage in the Yarden jungle? For even your brothers, the house of your father, even they have betrayed you, even they have cried aloud after you. Do not believe them, even though they speak smooth words to you. I have forsaken my house, I have left my inheritance, I have given the beloved of my being into the hand of her enemies. My inheritance has become to me like a lion in the forest. It cries out against me, therefore I have hated it. My inheritance is to me like a speckled bird of prey. The birds of prey all around are against her. Go gather all the beasts of the field, bring them to devour. Many shepherds have destroyed my vineyard. They have trodden my portion underfoot. They have made my pleasant portion become a deserted wilderness. They have laid it waste. A waste it mourns to me. All the land is laid waste, because no one takes it to heart. The ravagers have come on all the bare heights in the wilderness, for the sword of Jehovah is devouring from one end of the land to the other end of the land. There is no peace to any flesh. They have sown wheat but reaped thorns. They have exhausted themselves. They do not profit. And they shall be ashamed of your harvest because of the burning displeasure of Jehovah. Thus said Jehovah, as for all my evil neighbors who touch the inheritance which I have caused my people, Israel, to inherit, see, I am plucking them out of the land, and I shall pluck out the house of Yehudah from their midst. And I shall be, after my plucking them out, I shall return and have compassion on them, and bring them back, every one to his inheritance and every one to his land. And it shall be, if they learn well the ways of my people, to swear by my name, as Jehovah lives, as they taught my people to swear by Baal, then they shall be established in the midst of my people. But if they do not obey, I shall pluck up, and destroy that nation, declares Jehovah. Thus Jehovah said to me, Go and get yourself a linen girdle, and put it on your loins, but do not put it in water. So I brought a girdle according to the word of Jehovah, and put it on my loins. And the word of Jehovah came to me the second time, saying, Take the girdle that you have brought, which is on your loins, and arise. Go to the Euphrates, and hide it there in a hole in the rock. And I went and hid it by the Euphrates, as Jehovah commanded me. And it came to be after many days that Jehovah said to me, Arise, go to the Euphrates, and take from there the girdle which I commanded you to hide there. So I went to the Euphrates and dug, and I took the girdle from the place where I had hidden it. And there was the girdle, ruined. It was completely useless. And the word of Jehovah came to me, saying, Thus said Jehovah, Thus I ruin the pride of Yehudah and the great pride of Yerushalayim. This evil people who refuse to hear my words, who walk in the stubbornness of their heart, and walk after other mighty ones to serve them and bow themselves to them, is like this girdle which is completely useless. For as the girdle clings to the loins of a man, so I have caused all the house of Israel and all the house of Yehudah to cling to me, declares Jehovah, to become mine, for a people and for a name and for a praise and for an adorning, but they did not listen. And you shall speak to them this word, Thus said Jehovah Elohim of Israel, Every bottle is to be filled with wine. And when they say to you, Do we not know that every bottle should be filled with wine? Then say to them, Thus said Jehovah, See, I am filling all the inhabitants of this land, and the sovereigns who sit on the throne of David, and the priests and the prophets, and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with drunkenness. And I shall dash them one against another, both the fathers and the sons together, declares Jehovah. I do not spare nor pardon nor have any compassion, that I should not destroy them. Listen and give ear, do not be proud, for Jehovah has spoken. Give esteem to Jehovah your Elohim, for he brings darkness, and before your feet stumble on the dark mountains, and while you are looking for light, he turns it into the shadow of death, makes it gross darkness. And if you do not listen, my being shall weep in secret for your pride, and my eyes bitterly weep and run down with tears, because the flock of Jehovah shall be taken captive. Say to the sovereign and to the sovereigness mother, Humble yourselves, sit down, for your rule, the crown of your comeliness, has come down. The cities of the south shall be shut up, with no one to open them. Yehudah shall be taken into exile, all of it. She shall be taken into exile completely. Lift up your eyes and see those who come from the north. Where is the flock that was given to you, your fair sheep? What would you say when he visits you? For you have taught them to be chiefs, to be head over you. Do not pangs seize you like a woman in labor? And when you say in your heart, Why has this come upon me? It is because of your great crookedness that your skirts have been uncovered, your heels made bare. Does a Cushite change his skin and a leopard its spots? You who are taught to do evil are also unable to do good. So I shall scatter them like stubble that passes away by the wind of the wilderness. This is your lot, your measured portion from me, declares Jehovah, because you have forgotten me and trust in falsehood. I shall even draw your skirts over your face, and your shame shall be seen. Your adulteries and your neighings, the wickedness of your whoring, I have seen your abominations on the hills and the fields. Woe to you, O Yerushalayim! How long before you would be made clean? The word of Jehovah that came to Yirmiyahu concerning the matter of droughts. Yehudah has mourned, and her gates have languished. They have mourned on the ground, and the cry of Yerushalayim has gone up. And their nobles have sent their little ones for water. They went to the cisterns and found no water. They returned with their vessels empty. They were put to shame, and blushed, and covered their heads. Because the ground became cracked, for there has been no rain in the land. The plowmen were put to shame, they covered their heads. Even the deer gave birth in the fields, but left because there was no grass. And while donkeys stood in the bare heights, they sniffed at the wind like jackals. Their eyes have failed because there was no grass. O Jehovah, thou art crookedness witness against us. Act for your name's sake. For our backslidings have been many, we have sinned against you. O expectation of Yisrael, its Savior in time of distress, why should you be like a stranger in the land, or like a traveler who turns aside to lodge? Why should you be as one who is stunned, as a mighty man that is unable to save? Yet you, O Jehovah, are in our midst, and your name has been called on us. Do not leave us. Thus said Jehovah to this people, So they have loved to wander, they have not restrained their feet. Therefore Jehovah has not accepted them. Now he does remember their crookedness and punish their sins. And Jehovah said to me, Do not pray for this people for their good. When they fast, I do not hear their cry. And when they offer ascending offerings and grain offerings, I do not accept them. Instead, I am consuming them by sword, and by scarcity of food, and by pestilence. But I said, Ah, Master Jehovah, see, the prophets say to them, You are not to see a sword, nor have scarcity of food, for I give you true peace in this place. Then Jehovah said to me, The prophets prophesy falsehood in my name. I have not sent them, nor commanded them, nor spoken to them. They are prophesying to you a false vision, worthless divination, and the deceit of their own heart. Therefore thus said Jehovah concerning the prophets who prophesy in my name, whom I did not send, and who say, Sword and scarcity of food shall not be in this land. By sword and scarcity of food those prophets shall be consumed. And the people to whom they are prophesying shall be thrown out in the streets of Jerusalem because of the scarcity of food and the sword, with no one to bury them, nor their wives, their sons nor their daughters, for I shall pour their evil on them. And you shall say this word to them, Let my eyes flow with tears night and day, and let them not cease, for the maiden daughter of my people has been crushed with a mighty blow, with a very severe wound. If I go out to the field, then see those slain with the sword. And if I enter the city, then see those sick from scarcity of food. For both prophet and priest go about in the land they do not know. Have you completely rejected Yehuda? Has your being loathed Sion? Why have you stricken us so that there is no healing for us? We looked for peace, but there was no good, and for the time of healing, but see, fear. O Jehovah, we know our wrong and the crookedness of our fathers, for we have sinned against you. Do not scorn us for your name's sake. Do not despise the throne of your esteem. Remember, do not break your covenant with us. Are there among the worthless idols of the nations any causing rain? And do the heavens give showers? Are you not He, O Jehovah our Elohim? And we wait for you are the one who does all this. And Jehovah said to me, Even if Moshe and Shemuel were to stand before me, my being is not toward this people. Send them away from my presence, let them go. And it shall be, when they say to you, Where do we go? Then you shall say to them, Thus said Jehovah, Those for death to death, and those for the sword to the sword, and those for scarcity of food to scarcity of food, and those for captivity to captivity. And I shall appoint over them 4 kinds, declares Jehovah, the sword to kill, the dogs to drag, the birds of the heavens and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy. And I shall make them for a horror to all the reigns of the earth, on account of Menashe, son of Hiskiyahu, sovereign of Yehuda, because of what he did in Jerusalem. For who has compassion on you, O Jerusalem, and who mourns for you, and who turns aside to ask how you are doing? You have forsaken me, declares Jehovah. You have gone backward. Therefore I shall stretch out my hand against you and destroy you. I have been weary of relenting. And I shall winnow them with a winnowing fan in the gates of the land. I shall bereave, I shall destroy my people. They would not turn back from their ways. Their windows shall be more numerous than the sand of the seas. I shall bring against them, against the mother of the young men, a ravager at noon. I shall cause agitation and sudden alarm to fall on her suddenly. She who has borne 7 shall pine away. She shall breathe her last. Her sun shall go down while it is yet day. She shall be put to shame and be humiliated. And their remnant I give up to the sword before their enemies, declares Jehovah. Woe to me, my mother, that you have borne me, a man of strife, and a man of contention to all the earth. I have neither lent for interest, nor have men lent to me for interest. All of them are reviling me. Jehovah said, Did I not direct you for your good? Did I not intercede for you in a time of evil, and in a time of distress against the enemy? Does one break iron or bronze from the north? Your wealth and your treasure I give as plunder, not for price, because of all your sins, even in all your borders. And I shall cause them to pass over with your enemies into a land which you did not know, for a fire is kindled in my displeasure which burns upon you. You yourself know, O Jehovah, remember me and visit me, and take vengeance for me on these who persecute me. In your patience do not take me away. Know that for you I have suffered reproach. Your words were found and I ate them, and your word was to me the joy and rejoicing of my heart. For your name is called on me, O Jehovah, Elohim of hosts. I have not sat in the company of the mockers, nor do I exult. I have sat alone because of your hand, for you have filled me with displeasure. Why is my pain without end and my wound incurable, which refuses to be healed? Are you to me like a failing stream, as waters not steadfast? Therefore thus said Jehovah, If you turn back, then I shall bring you back. Before me you shall stand. And if you take out the precious from the worthless, you shall become as my mouth. Let them return to you, but do not return to them. And I shall make you to this people a strong bronze wall, and they shall fight against you, but not overcome you, for I am with you to save you and deliver you, declares Jehovah. And I shall deliver you from the hand of evildoers, and I shall ransom you from the grip of the ruthless. And the word of Jehovah came to me, saying, Do not take a wife, nor have sons or daughters in this place. For thus said Jehovah, concerning the sons and daughters who are born in this place, and concerning their mothers who bear them, and their fathers who bring them forth in this land. They shall die of deaths from diseases. They shall not be lamented nor buried, but be like dung on the face of the earth, and be consumed by sword and by scarcity of food. And their corpses shall be meat for the birds of the heavens and for the beasts of the earth. For thus said Jehovah, Do not enter the house of mourning, neither go to lament or mourn for them. For I have withdrawn my peace from this people, declares Jehovah, even the loving commitment and the compassions. Both great and small shall die in this land. They shall not be buried, and no one shall lament for them, or cut themselves, or make themselves bald for them. Neither shall they break bread in mourning for them to comfort them for the dead, nor give them the cup of comfort to drink for their fathers or their mothers. Do not enter the house of feasting, to sit with them, to drink, to eat and drink. For thus said Jehovah of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, See, before your eyes and in your days I am making the voice of rejoicing, and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride to cease in this place. And it shall be when you declare to this people all these words, and they shall say to you, Why has Jehovah pronounced all this great evil against us? And what is our crookedness, and what is our sin that we have committed against Jehovah our Elohim? Then you shall say to them, Because your fathers have forsaken me, declares Jehovah, and have walked after other mighty ones, and served them, and bowed themselves to them, and have forsaken me, and did not guard my Torah. And you have done more evil than your fathers. For look, each one walks according to the stubbornness of his own evil heart, without listening to me. So I shall throw you out of this land into a land that you do not know, neither you nor your fathers. And there you shall serve other mighty ones day and night, where I show you no favor. Therefore, see, the days are coming, declares Jehovah, when it is no longer said, Jehovah lives, who brought up the children of Israel from the land of Mizraim. But Jehovah lives, who brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north and from all the lands where he had driven them. For I shall bring them back into their land I gave to their fathers. See, I am sending for many fishermen, declares Jehovah, and they shall fish them. And after that I shall send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and every hill, and out of the holes of the rocks. For my eyes are on all their ways. They have not been hidden from my face, nor has their crookedness been hidden from my eyes. And first I shall repay double for their crookedness and their sin, because they have defiled my land with the dead bodies of the disgusting matters, and have filled my inheritance with their abominations. O Jehovah, my strength and my stronghold and my refuge, in the day of distress, the nations shall come to you from the ends of the earth and say, Our fathers have inherited only falsehood, futility, and there is no value in them. Would a man make mighty ones for himself which are not mighty ones? Therefore, see, I am causing them to know. This time I cause them to know my hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is Jehovah.